Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. HTM here with an update on the PTS patch notes now for the Markarth DLC. These just went live over on the PTS forums, so if you'd like to take a look with me, there'll be a link to these down in the description below. Now I will have probably a few other videos coming out later today and this week, just breaking these down piece by piece because there is a lot to go over here, but I wanted to start with some of the new items being released from Overland Crafted, as well as the new solo arena. So we're going to take a look at those right now, and then check out how some existing item sets have been changed. So let's jump right into it. Starting with the new item sets, I think there's about 17 of those, and the Overland sets from the new Reach zone. So we've got Void Caller, which is the light armor set. You get max health, max magicka, spell damage, and then for the 5-piece, when you take damage, your spell damage is increased by 24 for 5 seconds, stacking up to 20 times. This effect can occur every half second, and once you reach 20 stacks, the duration is doubled, but can no longer be refreshed. So first of all, this looks similar to a lot of how the stacking sets work now. You stack it up to 10 or 20, it stays there for double the duration, and then you have to restack it again. But the spell damage here is pretty good. 24 times 20 stacks, that'll be about 480 spell damage at max. So this is not bad for solo builds, especially, I would say, because if you're just by yourself, you're going to be taking all the damage anyways. So you might as well get some more spell damage for doing that. So not a bad set. Definitely interesting. Now, Witch Knight's Defiance is the medium armor set. Everything weapon damage, and then for the 5-piece, increases your weapon damage by 369 against poison enemies. And wow, if there was ever a stamina Dragon Knight set, this is it, you guys. This is going to be very strong, both PvE and PvP, because the Venomous Claw skill from Dragon Knights, that's a guaranteed poison status effect on any enemy that you hit with Venom Claw. So yeah, this is going to be great on stamina Dragon Knights, maybe a few other classes as well. And then Radiant Bastion, this is the heavy armor set from the Reach. So we got max health, weapon damage, interesting, max health again, and then deal 10% of all direct damage done back to the attacker up to 4250 damage. So that's interesting. I wouldn't say this is really a tank set. This almost seems more like a PvP set, and I wonder how that will be affected by Battle Spirit. But interesting mechanic there on the 5-piece, definitely worth checking out. Now let's talk about the new crafted set, Red Eagle's Fury. So we've got weapon and spell damage, critical chance. So I'll talk about this in another video, but weapon critical and spell critical is now combined into a single stat, which I like. I think it's pretty cool. 4-piece gets weapon and spell damage again, and for the 5-piece, adds 469 weapon and spell damage to your weapon skill abilities, but increases the cost of your non-weapon skills by 5%. This is pretty interesting. I actually am a fan of this. You'll obviously need to spec into some type of weapon skill focused build. I'm thinking maybe like a stamina sorcerer in PvP using two-hand, dizzy swing, crit rush, executioner, all going to be buffed pretty hard by this. And then as long as you're using a weapon ultimate, like the two-handed ultimate, that can be a pretty powerful build. So that's definitely pretty good. So I do like that one. Then we've got Ethereal Ascension, adding armor, max health, armor again, and 7,377 armor on the 5-piece. That's definitely a lot of armor. Increases the cost of block, sprint, dodge, and break free by 25%. All right, interesting. So again, we're seeing the, what do they call this? Kiss Curse style of new set bonuses where it adds something, but it takes away from something else. So there is a trade-off. That's a lot of armor, honestly. I don't even know if that much is necessary. And the cost is pretty high. I mean, 25% block cost, that's going to drain your stamina really fast because block is already pretty costly. Same thing with roll dodges and break free. So I don't know. That's an interesting one. And then Legacy of Karth, this is the last crafted set. So you get crit chance, weapon and spell damage, offensive penetration. So this confirms that they're actually combining the penetration stats as well. Physical and spell penetration are now one stat. And then for the 5-piece bonus, enemies affected by your poisons take 1973 disease damage every 1 second. Okay, I don't know. That might be good on like a Stamina Nightblade bow build, perhaps. Now let's get down to the arena weapons. This is what I was really looking forward to, you guys. These are from the new solo arena. Vanastrand Hollows that is in the Markarth DLC. And these are ability-altering weapons. So basically, they're going to do something extra based on a specific weapon skill. So Frenzied Momentum, that's going to be the two-handed weapon. You get a stamina bonus. That's for the perfected version. And I'm assuming just like Maelstrom is now, you'll get perfected if you complete the veteran version of the arena. And then the main bonus is while momentum is active, so that's rally or forward momentum, casting any stamina abilities generates a stack of frenzied momentum for 10 seconds, up to 5 times. At max stacks, your next heavy attack will consume all those stacks, releasing an explosion, dealing about 9,000 physical damage. Okay, not bad, not terrible. We'll have to see how that tooltip is affected by, things like champion points to see if that's really useful. It doesn't seem like a lot of damage to me. It would be nice if the stack did something else, like increased your stamina or increased your weapon damage or something like that, because just looking at this at face value, I don't know. All it does is giving you a little bit extra damage on your heavy attack. Okay, Void Bash. This is for the one-handed shield skill line based off the Power Bash ability. I really like this skill. It does great damage, and it has some extra secondary effects as well. So the perfected version adds max health, and then when you deal damage with Power Bash, you apply Call of the Void to yourself for 2 seconds. Enemies within 12 meters are immediately pulled to you, and after Call of the Void ends, you apply Major Maim to enemies in the area for 10 seconds. This effect can occur once every 13 seconds. Wow, this actually seems really good. This is one of the better ones I've seen. It's very interesting. So, is this an AoE pull? It seems like it's an AoE pull because it says enemies within 12 meters. It doesn't say like the nearest enemy or the farthest enemy. So this is an AoE pull now tied to your Power Bash skill. You also put Major Maim on the enemies for 10 seconds. That's actually a pretty long application of Major Maim. And the cooldown isn't even that long. It's every 13 seconds. So this is impressive. I mean, this is, I would consider running this on both PvE and PvP builds. So far, that's my favorite one. Okay, Executioner's Blade. This is going to be on the dual wield skill line, I believe. Hidden Blade, yep. So the perfected version gives us weapon critical. And then Hidden Blade deals 200% more damage to targets under 25% health when you're standing behind them. So I don't know about this. Honestly, it seems a little bit awkward, because Dual Wield already has the Steel Tornado skill, which acts as an execute. So does this mean that Hidden Blade is going to outperform Steel Tornado as the execute for the skill line? I'm not sure. You definitely wouldn't want to use both skills because you're going to be wasting a skill slot having 2 executes on your skill bar. You're not too sure about that one. All right, moving on to Point Blank Snipe. So this is from the bow skill line. This adds 103 weapon damage for the perfected version, and then increases your damage done with Snipe by 33% against targets that are within 7 meters of you. Wow, okay, so close range Snipe is going to be a thing with this. Potentially from stealth? I don't know. That is interesting. I mean, that's an interesting mechanic to add to that skill, but keep in mind that all bow abilities do less damage the closer you are. So the total effect of that 33% is probably going to be quite a bit less than 33%, so I don't know about that one either. And then Wrath of Elements is the weakness to elements item set. This adds 1190 spell penetration. Okay, that's interesting. It's not offensive penetration now, it's spell penetration. And then casting weakness to elements, so that's either weakness or you can do the elemental drain morph. On a target within 15 meters, causes a surge of elemental energy to tether between you for 10 seconds. And while the tether persists, enemies touching the tether take 2140 flame shock or frost damage every 1 second. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. Okay, so this is another AoE effect, basically, an AoE tether, similar to Necromancer tether abilities, and it does damage type based on whatever staff you're holding. Okay, doesn't seem fantastic, but a little bit extra damage, I guess, is not bad. And then Force Overflow. This is for the Force Siphon ability from the Restoration Staff skill line. Probably one of the worst abilities in terms of weapon abilities, at least. So let's see what this does. Perfected version adds Max Magicka. Okay. And then casting Force Siphon on the target within 15 meters. You again, it sounds the same. Surge of magical energy to tether between you for 10 seconds. So same tether effect. While the tether persists, you and your group members in the tether restore 175 magicka and stamina every 1 second. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. Okay, so I actually like that one a little bit better. Some extra magicka and stamina sustain for you and your group based on that ability. Will it make it worth it to run Force Siphon? Maybe, if you're a healer. That's some extra utility, so that's not bad. Okay, and then last but not least, let's check out our arena sets. So there is a light, medium, and heavy set for the solo arena as well. Hex Siphon is the light armor set, gives you max magicka, spell damage, spell critical, spell damage again. Okay, so that's an extra set bonus, which is pretty nice. And then also for the 5-piece, when you bash an enemy, you release a cone of hexing energy. Each enemy hit increases your spell damage by 88 for 8 seconds, up to a maximum of 6 enemies. And then whenever you interrupt a target, you restore 1,000 magicka. So 88 times 6, that's about 528 spell damage. That's if you have 6 enemies around you. Not bad. I mean, it's not bad for trash pulls, but what if you're facing off against a single boss? This set's going to be pretty useless. Let's check out the medium armor set. Pestilent Host, Physical Pen, max stamina, weapon damage, physical pen again. And then whenever you kill an enemy afflicted with a poison effect, their corpse releases a writhing mass of Fetcher flies, seeking out the nearest enemy within 12 meters, causing them to bleed for 31,000 physical damage over 10 seconds. Okay, wow, this is another bleed set. We're getting a lot of bleed sets in the game now at this point, so maybe another option for bleed builds. I like how you do have the physical penetration twice here. That's pretty powerful. Yeah, I like that. That's going to be good on some specific builds. Then the heavy armor set is called Explosive Rebuke, max stamina, max health, weapon and spell damage. And then when you block, you place a bomb on the enemy for 10 seconds. When they're hit with a fully charged heavy attack, the bomb detonates, dealing 150 flame damage to all enemies within 8 meters. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. I feel like we have other sets that already do this, right? The bomb that's detonated by a heavy attack. This doesn't seem particularly original or interesting. I don't really like it. And then let's talk about mythic items. There are 2 brand new mythic items coming in the Markarth DLC. We saw this first one already. Ring of the Pale Order restores 15% of the damage you deal as health, but you cannot be healed by anyone but yourself. I think this is an amazing mythic for solo builds, both in PvE and PvP. It's going to be very strong. And then here's the new one that we haven't seen yet. Pearls of, I don't know what that says, Pearls of something, but whenever you cast a healing ability while your dominant resource is under 30%, gain 5 ultimate. Whenever you cast a healing ability, you gain 5 extra ultimate. That seems pretty weak. That doesn't seem great at all. I'm not sure why you would want that. Okay, but that's the new item sets. I wanted to talk briefly about updated item sets in this video as well, just so we can keep everything in the same place. Most of these are not major, huge changes to existing item sets, and some of it just has to do with the buff changes that I'll be talking about in another video. So talking about the existing crafted sets, Daedric Trickery, major buffs now last 21 seconds, up from 16, and they reduce the cooldown on this set to 9 seconds. This means you can have up to 3 major buffs active at once from the set, or only 1. Very interesting. And then his Spark, this set's 3-piece bonus is now max stamina rather than health recovery, okay? And the Axiom fixed an issue with weapon and spell damage. Magnus's Gift fixed an issue with the set's visuals. Night Mother's Gaze, this set now applies Major Breach for 4 seconds rather than Major Fracture for 6 seconds. And this has to do with the buff changes. So keep an eye out for one of my next videos discussing this, but basically, Major Fracture is now Major Breach. They combine that buff into one single buff for penetration. Noble's Conquest now procs off any bash rather than an interrupt, so that's actually better. It heals for 9,000 over 10 seconds rather than 4,300 instantly, and it has a 10-second cooldown. Okay, not terrible. Spectre's Eye increased the duration of Major Evasion to 30 seconds. And then Unchained Aggressor increased the duration of Major Berserk to 12 seconds and reduced the cooldown. Now let's look at the existing dungeon and arena sets. Bani's Torment, increase the duration, increase the cooldown. Drozakar's Claws, fix an issue where the set could fail to activate. Okay, that's fine. Durok's Bane, increase the duration of Major Defile to 5 seconds. And reduce the cooldown. Okay, nothing huge there. Draugr's Rest now has a friendly telegraph. That's good. Hand of Mephala, reduce the snare potency a little bit. Haven of Ursus, fix numerous issues with targeting for the synergy. Okay. Healer's Habit, this now grants an additional 5% healing done while wearing the 5-piece set. Okay. Heemjaw's Retribution, this set now grants an additional weapon damage bonus for the 5-piece set. That's good. And the increased duration of Major Berserk to 10 seconds up from 5. Very nice. Ironblood, this set now grants a unique damage reduction rather than major protection. Wow, that's actually pretty interesting. Now, one thing we'll talk about in my next video is major protection got a serious nerf. Serious nerf. So that means this might be one of the best defensive sets in the game at this point because, yeah, 30%, this is now a lot stronger than actually major protection is. Jailer's Tenacity, increase the duration to 8 seconds. Nightmare, okay, I use this on a couple solo builds. You now have an extra max health bonus, that's not bad. You get armor instead of weapon damage, okay. Increase the duration of Minor Maim to 5 seconds, that's good. And there's a 3-second cooldown, okay, that's fine. Scathing Mage, fix an issue where some direct damage attacks would fail to proc the set, such as Elemental Ring, okay. Sunder Flame, little reduction in damage there. Okay, that's fine. Overland sets, Champion of the Hist. Increase the max health by the 5-piece bonus to 1,600. That's a lot of health. And that's an extra bonus too. That's pretty nice. Grace of Gloom has a reduced cooldown to 20 seconds. That's good. And the heal is now every 2 seconds instead of every 1 second. Okay. Mad Tinkerer. Okay, there was an issue with the tooltip. That should be fixed now. Order of Diagna. The set now grants additional 5% healing taken when wearing the 5 pieces. Okay, again, that's going to be related to some of the changes with buffs. Shock Exoskeleton, increase the spell damage. That's pretty good. Vampire's Cloak now gives you more spell damage. Okay, fine, whatever. Venomous Smite, fix an issue where the visuals could remain. Okay, so that's a pretty well-known bug. That should be fixed now. Warrior Poet, increase the max health. Again, 1,600 is a lot of health. That's pretty good. And then Wisdom of Vanis, increase the duration of Major Mending up to 5 seconds. Okay, moving on to PvP sets. Affliction, increase the damage proc. And then Coward's Gear now gives you 250 stamina recovery when wearing 5 pieces. That's pretty nice. Fasala's Guile, this set now only activates while in combat. It also gives you an extra armor bonus for the 5-piece. That's good. Lucky's Focus, reduce the damage penalty of your area effects down to 5% instead of 15%. Wow, okay. Steadfast Hero, increase the duration of major protection to 10 seconds, up from 5. Reduce the cooldown to 12 seconds, down from 18. Sounds good, but again, major protection, seriously nerfed. And then Ward of Cyrodiil, increase the duration of major defile to 4 seconds. On to trial sets. The following sets now grant the major buff for 1 second for every 10 ultimates spent, rather than every 14, so a bit of a buff there. Then we increase the resource on kill from the following sets to 2454, just up a bit. So False God, Quick Serpent, Vicious Ophidian, Arms of Reliquin, increase the damage to 355 per stack, up from 300. So actually a nice little buff for Reliquin. That's going to continue being meta for trials, it looks like. Eternal Warrior, oh, nice buff there, 25,000 now, up from 12,000. Healing Mage now applies Minor Cowardice. Immortal Warrior, increase the duration of major protection. Reduce the cooldown. Kind's Wind, increase the resources granted per tick. Lunar Bastion, increase the shield size. Tooth of Locustes, increase the duration of Major Slayer. Up to 16 seconds. Okay, not bad. Thrall's Command, reduce the cooldown of the Major Aegis granted to 21 seconds, down from 36. And they increase the duration as well. Okay, nice. And Yandir's Might, Giant's Endurance now stacks up to 10 times, up from 5. But they did reduce the weapon damage per stack. So 41 down from 74. Giant's Might now grants 63 weapon damage per stack, down from 111. and they increased the duration to 15 seconds up from 10. Okay, fix some issues with bar swapping and heavy attacking there. Okay, that's fine. And then monster sets, Lady Thorn. The major maim now lasts 8 seconds up from 5, and they reduced the cooldown. That's fine. Okay, Pirate Skeleton. I was wondering if they were going to fix this a little bit since major protection is so much weaker now. And they did update this quite a bit. So they fixed issues, first of all, with the skeleton form appearing while you're holding block. So that should be more consistent now. They also removed the proc chance entirely from the set, so that's good. They increased the duration to 15 seconds up from 10, and the cooldown is now 20 seconds, so you have a 5-second gap essentially. The set now applies minor defile to you rather than major defile, so you can get minor defile on yourself plus the major protection with a shorter cooldown, so not bad I guess. Scourge Harvester increased the duration to 6 seconds up from 4, so they reduced the tick frequency to every 1 second instead of a half second. Okay, I wonder if that's just to deal with lag perhaps. Total healing is now slightly more, over 6 seconds. Vicosa, this set now applies major cowardice to enemies rather than a unique buff. They also increased the duration and increased the cooldowns just slightly there. Zon fixed an issue where the set was not properly labeled as a proc set. And then a few changes to our other ability-altering weapons. Concentrated Force, fixed an issue with the visuals, okay, that's fine. And the Mender's Ward increased the duration of major vitality to 4 seconds up from 2. So there you have it. We talked about all the new item sets and we went over the existing set changes. Quite a few changes overall. Nothing huge. I would say some of the major changes that have to do with this have more to do with how they've changed the major and minor buff systems. I'll be working on a video for this next, so if you are interested in seeing that, make sure you're subscribed right here with those notifications turned on so you don't miss anything. Also, if you liked the video today, don't forget to like it and let me know what you think of those new item sets down in the comment section below. I think some of them are quite powerful and then some just really look like you would never use. So let us know what you think. Keep your eyes out for the next video. And until then, I hope you're doing well, stay safe, and I will see you around in the next one. Bye.